The information that I'm going to share with you in this video is taken directly from settlement sheets, owner settlement sheets, or lease purchase operator settlement sheets. Um, this does not break down the truck payment for the week or the fuel expense for the week or any of that. It shows your total loaded miles, your deadhead miles, your total gross miles. It breaks it down like that and will show you what you earned for the week gross, what you netted for the week after all your expenses, and we broke that down to a per mile number so you can see that how much you're actually earning or not earning per mile. And I wanted to take a moment and point out to you that throughout orientation, they're telling you 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week. But the reality is this spreadsheet will show you that over the course of a 7-month period, there's 10 weeks when you didn't even gross 2,000 miles in a week. And I also want to point out to you that if you're dissatisfied with the money that you're earning with EOS, you know, you're talking to your dispatcher or one of those ladies that handles the payroll and such, if you question them, they're going to come back to you with numbers that reflect your total miles, deadhead, and loaded miles. And but the numbers they're going to give you are based on solely loaded miles to make that number look higher. Because if they included the deadhead miles in, that number is going to be lower because they have a greater number of miles. So they're going to, because that, they're like every other trucking company. They're only concerned with loaded miles. So the numbers that they're going to give you is based on the loaded miles. It will not include deadhead miles. I'm not going to get into to more of it right now. Let's just go ahead and get into the spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to include this spreadsheet in this video so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this will start for the last 2 weeks of the month of April 2023. Now, your first week, maybe even your first 2 weeks, depending on when your week starts, you may not expect to do that much. And, for the month of April, those last 2 weeks, there was a total of 5 loads. Broke down to 2,528 total miles. 429 of those were deadhead. 2,099 were loaded miles. And for those 2 weeks, the gross pay was $5,920. The net pay was $2,274.22, which breaks down to about 90 cents a mile. Okay. But I want to skip on down and I want to point out the troubling areas. So let's take a look at the second week of May. The week of May 8th, 2023. There were 4 loads, 2,844 total miles, 2,584 loaded miles, 260 deadhead miles. Now the gross pay for that week was $5,156.85. The take home for that week was $1,338.85, which breaks down to 47 cents a mile. Excuse me. You're better off as a company driver. See, one of the things that EOS will tell you is 73%. That's what you're getting paid, 73%. They'll give you a number. This is what the load pays, but you get 73% of that number. If there's an extra stop, excuse me, to pick up or an extra stop to drop off, let's say they tell you that you're going to get an extra $100. Well, the reality is you're going to get $73. You're going to get 73% of that $100. If they promise you detention or a layover, if you actually get it, it'll be 73% of what you're told. I've learned that there's a lot of vagueness in what this company says and does. There's a lot of things that are somewhat misleading and can be easily misunderstood. But let's go on down to the week of May 26th, 2023. One load for that week. Now, this could be holiday, a vacation week or something. But there's one load that week. Your total was 920 miles. 812 of those were loaded. 108 were deadhead. $1,570.23 was gross pay. You ended that week owing EOS Trucking $268.14. It literally cost 29 cents per mile for this guy to be there. 29 cents a mile is what he's paying them for the privilege of being there. Let's go to the first week of June 2023, the week of June the 5th. 3 loads that week, 2,134 total miles, 1,878 loaded miles, and 256 miles deadhead. You grossed $3,825.13, but you only took home $443.30. Part of that because you still owed them almost $270 from the previous week. So you actually wind up putting in your pocket 21 cents a mile that week. Let's go on down to the third week of June, the week of June 16th. Again, 3 loads, 2,422 miles total. 2,074 miles was loaded, 348 miles were empty, $4,071.54 gross. Took home $976.58, or 40 cents a mile, 40. The next week got slightly better at 51 cents a mile. If we go to the second week of July, now you'll see on here that July shows June 30th, and the reason for that is the last day of June fell on the pay week for the first week of July. So that's why that shows up that way. But the week of June the 10th, 3 loads, 1,664 total miles. Short version, $509.71, or a total of 31 cents per mile. And, every week is not like this. There's some weeks in here that's, close to $1 a mile. There's actually one week in here that is over $1 a mile take home. One. And there's several in here that's less than 50 cents a mile. For example, let's go on down here to the week of August 21st. There were 2 loads that week for a total of 1,198 miles. 752 were loaded, 446 were deadheads. So see, your deadhead was almost half, actually slightly better than half of what your loaded miles were that week. And wound up taking home, or wound up grossing $1,813.81. Cost you $507.08 that week, or you paid them 42 cents a mile for you to be there. Here's a week of September the 11th, 2023. 2 loads, 936 total miles. You took home $261.75, or 28 cents a mile. The entire month of September never even hit 40 cents a mile take home. 36 cents a mile, 28 cents a mile, 36 cents a mile, 38 cents a mile. And that sums up the entire month of September 2023. October, slightly better, but nothing to set the world on fire. I mean, the second week of October the 6th, 2023, you had 2 loads, 1,400 miles for the week. Took home 45 cents a mile. You spend some time going over this, but here's a breakdown. Your average per mile money for the entire month. April figured out to 90 cents a mile. May figured out to 57 cents a mile for the entire month. June was 48 cents a mile. July, 74 cents a mile. August, 49 cents a mile. September, 36 cents a mile. October, 60 cents a mile. So, whenever they tell you 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week, that's a bunch of hooey, because you ain't going to get it. And I don't know. I'm going to try and be generous in a sense, and say that maybe the excuse for EOS is either A, they have more drivers than they do freight, and they're trying to spread the love, so to speak. And if that's the case, then that's their fault. That's their fault for hiring more drivers of what they have the capability to satisfy. But you decide for yourself. The numbers don't lie. This is not an opportunity. In fact, in my research and talking to people, I have not once ever heard of nor encountered anyone who had actually paid off a truck and got the title in their hand through EOS. Not a single soul. And I remember one instance, their dispatcher, Chris, was talking about fuel economy and what can be done to improve your fuel economy. And that was the end of it. There were no follow-up conversations. Allegedly, they were going to try and move the driver to another truck that was supposedly get better fuel economy. That didn't happen. The driver saw a couple of older, like, Freightliner Coronados, and this was a lease purchase driver. And the story that was given was, well, that Coronado. We don't do Coronados anymore. We don't do any kind of hood trucks anymore. That truck is there for this driver, this company driver that's been with Harvey for 15 years. So take your company driver. If you want to satisfy your lease purchase guys, because they're the ones paying for these trucks, take your company driver and put him in another truck. Let that lease purchase guy have that truck that that driver is driving, that's been with the company for 15 years, because these company trucks, you get no fuel discount with EOS. Harvey keeps that money. You get a fuel surcharge, but the numbers that they give you for the fuel surcharge never match what the weekly Department of Energy fuel surcharge rates show. Using the formulation method that the Department of Energy gives you on the website. So I don't know how EOS calculates their fuel surcharge, but the numbers don't match. And like I said, if you're a lease purchase guy, you're taking money out of your pocket to pay for that fuel to get that load from point A to point B. And Harvey don't even give you the decency of allowing you to have that fuel discount. He puts that in his pocket. I get it for him keeping that for the company trucks and the company drivers, because he's the one paying for the fuel. But lease purchase guys and gals, you're the ones that's paying for that fuel. So you are the ones who should rightfully be getting that fuel discount. But no, you don't get that with EOS. So you guys, make your own assessment, make your own judgment. Take what I've told you, talk to other people. If you encounter someone at a truck stop that's an EOS driver, talk to them and tell them to give it to you on the level. You're thinking about joining EOS, and you'd like to know firsthand from someone who's actually there and is in their lease purchase program. I encountered a guy actually yesterday in West Little Rock. He was on his way fixing to turn his truck in. He started off lease purchase with EOS, and he was with them for a couple of months as lease purchase. Wasn't making any money, so he switched over to company driver, and still wasn't making any money. In fact, he was sitting in the middle of a snowstorm up in New England for 4 days. They didn't pay him a plugged nickel for sitting those 4 days. Nothing. He couldn't go anywhere. Well, we don't pay for acts of God, is what he said they told him. But when these guys are company drivers, you're bearing 100% of the expense for them. So I hope that he's able to get that worked out and get some form of compensation for that. But anyway, you guys do your homework, do your research. The numbers are there. The numbers do not lie. And all of these numbers that I've provided can easily be backed up. So you guys be safe. I'll see you down the road. Bye.